Welcome to the Fenway Focus. This is episode 9 of the Fenway Focus. My name is Derek. I'm here with Jason. We have a lot to discuss on this weekend show. Uh, Obviously, the Red Sox had their series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, which they won all 3 games, which is the good news. However, it's not all good news. There's a lot to discuss uh, in terms of the roster, health, just a lot of things in general. So we're not going to waste any time. Um, let's not just cover the injuries and some of the stuff we don't necessarily love to talk about first. Let's talk about just the series as a whole. The fact that the Red Sox came away with all 3 games, because I think that's a very important thing. I'll hand it over to you, Jason. What are your thoughts on just the fact that the Red Sox were able to go to Pittsburgh, win all 3 games, although the Pirates have been struggling as of late, but sweeping a series is still sweeping a series, whether it's against the Pirates or a sweep's still a sweep, right?
Yeah, here's how I look at it. I look at it as you struggled against the Pirates in recent years, especially last year where they swept you and you swept them this year. Great. And the Pirates had a hot start to the year. And unfortunately for them, their vibes in their clubhouse was terrible from what I've heard from the broadcast. And that, as a result, really just resulted in bad play from them. But in terms of the Red Sox side, they put everything together. And the offense has been a question mark. We knew the pitching was probably going to be good. Defensively, they played a solid series. I'm not going to say good because there are a couple plays here and there. There were flashes of some solid plays, like Dahlbeck had a good play in Game 3. Rafaela had some good plays at shortstop. But still, it's looking at it in the big picture, it was really a good win. And, the Sox kind of set the tone saying, yeah, we're not done. We're not going anywhere, despite all these injuries, which will, as Derek alluded to, we'll get into in a couple moments. But as a whole, I'm personally happy about how the Sox performed. Perfect. You needed a sweep. You're 13-10 after a brutal homestand. Now you're 10-3 on the road this year. So the road's a strength, which is good, but we have much needed off day tomorrow, which is Monday, and for them to reset. And I think we're going to talk a lot about what's going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. Obviously, I think the sweep is. I think it's going to keep vibes about as high as it possibly can be, although the vibes aren't going to be high, really, right now. It's tough because you look at this team and, they won all 3 games, and it's, great, but then you start looking at the other stuff that's going on with the team, and it's really rough. Um, it's. I think overall, when you look at this, you're happy you won 3 games, but you're very concerned for the Red Sox, I think. Well, obviously, we saw the lineup in the last game, and this is no shot at a guy like a Willie Abreu, but when Willie Abreu is probably the best hitter in your lineup, there are issues, and obviously a lot of them are injury related, but it's tough, right? It's a team that basically all the guys who are supposed to be the key players are not able to play right now, so there's big issues with that, and I think overall, just grand scheme of things, um, it was definitely a rough series for Red Sox fans, considering the injuries that have been sustained previously and our new injury that we will discuss when we talk about the second game in this series. But before we get there, let's talk about Game One. Jason, what were your thoughts on Game One, where the Red Sox got an 8-1 win?
The Red Sox really set the tone early. Abreu had a home run, and then Tristan Casas had a home run. Both in the first inning. Abreu was first of the year. Good that he's kind of figuring out. And Cora was kind of right. He needed more at-bats, more experience, because at first the Red Sox were kind of putting him in a platoon role. Now with the injuries, he's going to need to step up and play every day. So good to see that. And Tristan Casas had a home run to make it 2-0 after the first inning. And Priester, the Pirates starter, kind of struggled early. Didn't really go too far. He went 4 1/3, but he gave up 7 hits and 5 runs, 4 earned, and only 2 strikeouts. Gave up 3 home runs. So the Sox continue to be more reliant on the long ball, which we've seen a lot of lately. Um, so on the offensive side, the bats um, starting to come alive even more, considering the depth of the lineup is getting thin and thin and thin. It was a game where actually Bobby Dahlbeck got a hit. I think everybody but Duran that day got a hit in the Reds, at least one hit in the Red Sox lineup. 12 hits total. Red Sox only struck out 5 times, which I'll get to a little bit more later. Pitching wise, Bayo, good quality start, got the win in this one. 6 innings of one hit ball, only walked 2 and struck out 7. I kind of alluded to earlier in the season that Bayo, in order to get going, needs to get his A minus stuff. He had that stuff in game one, and it's good for him to see him taking steps forward to better pitching, to be that quote unquote ace the Red Sox need. Um, so yeah, great for him. His third win of the season. I don't like pitcher wins that much, but third win, that's pretty good. Chase Anderson had 2 good innings, and Cam Booser, great story behind him. Only he gave up 1 run, but hey, he's been okay. He's been solid. But like what I saw out of the pitching end for the Sox, and yeah, I think that's game one. One error for the Red Sox. That error was just a Rafaela on a shortstop routine ball. It was a fielding error, but hey, he kind of made up for it with. I think he made it up with a home run of his later in the series too.
Yeah, definitely. I will speak on Boozer a little bit because I was actually in Worcester on Friday, and in terms of the effect Boozer had on in Worcester, you talk about the Red Sox manager Chad Tracy, and when asked about Cam Boozer, Tracy kind of lit up a little bit, and was and basically I won't say exactly what Tracy say. Also, I don't have the greatest memory, but so I can't quote him off my memory, but basically what he said was along the lines of like Boozer's been through a lot, and getting to see what he's been through and see how he's bounced back from different things and different outings, and he's really how he's coming to his own, and then getting to tell Boozer that he's getting called up to the big leagues at 31 years old, and how all that's happened, and that basically that it was probably one of the best moments. Chad Tracy said it was probably the best one that he's ever had in terms of getting to tell a guy that he's going to the big leagues. I think uh, from what I heard from people I talked to, from hearing from Chad Tracy, from all the some of the other media members that were in Worcester that day, there everyone was just kind of you know just had glowing reviews of Cam Boozer, and I think so. To see a guy like that, go in, and then this after the Woo Sox game ended, some media members were all kind of get back into the press box, whatnot, get into the press box, and TV's on, ninth innings coming up, and guess who's coming in? Cam Boozer, and kind of all the media members kind of in there getting to see him, pitch that inning, make his debut, get the strikeout against Andrew McCutchen of all people. It was a really cool moment, and I think everyone was happy for him. And that's one of those guys that you see when he gets to the big leagues. It's just you're just happy to see it, and you're happy for the guy, and because that's a massive moment. Um, and I think that was that's one of the feel good stories I think of the Red Sox this year. I think I wouldn't be shocked if we get to that Netflix documentary that everyone that came out, and we see a moment about Cam Boozer making his debut in that. Like that's a big, real feel good moment that um, for a guy who's been through a lot, was out of the sport, then came back. I think I think that's a very powerful moment for anyone, really. And I think that, and like I said, from what everyone said about Boozer, and from what people in Worcester are saying about Boozer, I think just a really good guy, and just seeing him make that debut, I think was special. In terms of Game Two, I'll kind of dive into that. With the Red Sox winning 4-2, it's the closest game of the series. Willie Abreu had another solid game. He went 1 for 2, but he drew 3 walks. This was really the Masataka Yoshida game, though, in my opinion. 3 for 4, had a double and a homer. Um, and I think every ball he put in play was hit very well. Cutter Crawford had a nice start. 6 innings. Didn't give up 7 hits while also walking 3, so did have to work around some traffic. He finally gave up a run, his first run, I think, since the run he gave up in Seattle. That tells you just how good he's been pitching. But like I said, 6 innings, only giving up 1 run is very solid, especially with the traffic he had to work around. Kenley Jansen didn't give everyone a heart attack, striking out the side, working a clean inning, clean ninth inning. That was a pleasant sight to say the least. But I think the big news coming out of this game two for the Red Sox, game two of the series, is Tristan Casas and his injury, which he took swinging on a 3-1 pitch. And it looked like he kind of maybe grabbed like his like rib area, and eventually it came back that he's on the 10-day injured list. Right now they're calling it a rib strain. Um, I don't know how you strain a bone, but I have no clue how that works. But that's what they're calling it. He's going to be getting MRIs in Boston, so that's to be seen on what the injury actually is. Official what the injury actually is, but right now they have it listed as rib strain. He's already on the 10-day injured list, and that creates a lot of things going on with the Red Sox. Obviously, they did call up Tyler Heineman, who is the last healthy position player on the 40-man roster, and he's a catcher. So that tells you how many injuries they've had, because you have Devers on the bench. He's hurt. You have O'Neill on the concussion injured list, which he seems to be on track for Tuesday, but you still never know with concussions. Those are always scary because you never know how long it could be. And then obviously the Cost is going out now. You have Trevor Story's already injured. Just a lot of injuries, especially on the position player side of things, and not a lot of 40-man spots left. So it's very interesting to see how that's all going to work. Um, but I think in terms of game two, it's a little bit of a bitter one. It leaves a little bit of a bit. It's a little bit bittersweet because you get the win. So there are some highlight moments of the game, like with Yoshida going 3 for 4, with Jansen with the clean inning, Abreu having some good at bats. You know, but then the Casas injury just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth because he's such an important piece for this team, especially without Devers Way, especially without O'Neill, especially without Story. He was the last real kind of key bat in this lineup, and now without him, it's rough. And I think that leaves a spot.
It's a
Um,
lot of Murphy's Law right now. It's like everything that can go wrong for this team is kind of going wrong
but
offensively on
yeah,
the offensive standpoint, right?
yeah,
A lot of guys that you're gonna, hone in on and focus on and rely upon tomorrow, or not tomorrow, in the series, is going down. So that's something of note. So yeah,
yeah, no, definitely. And I think too, the other thing to remember too is like this is a Red Sox team that coming into the year, everyone was talking about the offense being a strength, and obviously you can't foresee all of the best offensive players on your team getting injured, but that's what's happened. And we kind of go to game three, and you look at that lineup, and Yoshida was on the bench as well for game three, and that kind of leaves you with the lineup with what Rafaela was hitting leadoff. You had your lineup was Rafaela, Duran, Refsnyder, and William Abreu for your top four of your lineup, which is a far cry from Duran, Devers, Story, Casas. That's a far cry from that. But Jason, what are your thoughts on Game Three of this series?
um, to be honest, it was Perez Day. Yeah, you're just going to the game three. Pirates got up 1-0 early on, and I personally thought that they might win this one just because of the tone. Like it was another day game, and I feel like it was one of those like games where the Sox were due to lose. But when Kowski's the quote unquote opener went 3 and a third inning, gave up 3 hits, one run and one strikeout. Then Booster came in, Weiser came in, Slayton had another nice appearance. Then Chase Anderson shut the door. And yeah, in terms of the offense really got going in the third inning. Refsnyder doubled, Abreu singled. Yeah, I liked what I saw. It was a solid win. Sox didn't, and the thing is, the Sox didn't really make that many errors at all this series. They only made one, and it wasn't that costly. So good for the Sox to kind of get their footing a little bit there in that regard, but yeah, the Abreu's getting going. He had 3 hits today and 2 RBIs. Um, but yeah, solid game. I really have nothing else to say. Sox got Perez out early after 4 innings. Solid bullpen game and a much needed off day tomorrow.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that I had Rafaela hit leadoff.
That
Um,
too. Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, but I mean, 1 for 4, also drawing a walk. I mean, you get on base 2 out of 5 times as a leadoff hitter. I think you take it, right?
I think that they did that definitely because of the lefty.
Well, yeah, partially. But at the same time, though, like they very well could have hit him ninth and kind of just had Duran lead off and slide everyone up a spot. They very well could have done that. So I thought it would, like I said, I thought it was very interesting that they did choose to have him hit lead off. Uh, but at the end of the day, obviously it worked out. And then you had Duran second. Um, and Rex Snyder obviously hitting third. I mean, against lefties, it's Robert F. Snyder against lefties just continues to just match. And then obviously William Abreu just continuing what he's been doing, continuing getting since he's gotten out of this kind of the cold stretch to start the year. He's arguably been the team's best hitter especially in terms of guys who are healthy. Like he's been the best hitter, and I know everyone want to argue maybe like a Jaron Duran, but like Duran's cooled off a little bit, right? And so with that, I think you start looking at it and go, William Abreu's been really good as of late, and I think he's gonna be so key for the Red Sox, not just offensively, but in the field as well, because he's gonna be playing every day. Um, and I like him playing every day. I do. I don't necessarily like them moving him to left field with Roughsnyder and right. I'd rather them just keep Abreu and right
I
and
think
just
it's
stick with him
fine.
there.
I think it's
No,
fine.
I think it's fine, but like I think personal preference just keep him in the same spot. Like
Yeah,
I
and I
don't
think
like
another thing about this game, Yoshida got another off day.
yes
Not
something to watch, but at the same time, I mean maybe they're thinking, oh, he'll have an off day today, then the team off day tomorrow, and he'll be fully set to go and kind of finish out this 19 games in 20 days stretch strong. But like
Yep.
even then, like I don't know. I mean,
He's still your
if you're supposed,
DH.
but not even that. If you're supposed to be getting Devers and O'Neill back on Tuesday, why couldn't you rest Yoshida then?
Exactly. So what's the
I mean,
plan?
it
Ref
worked out
Snyder's
in the
been
grand
hot.
scheme
The
of
other thing is Ref
things.
Snyder's
But
been hot. Um, Abreu's been hot. They got a DH.
are you
They'll
gonna play
probably
Ref Snyder
DH.
against righties though? I mean,
Yeah,
if O'Neill's coming back, like I don't think they play Ref Snyder against Cleveland. At
true,
least they don't start him because they don't face a lefty.
true. Good point. But I mean, I disagree. I just think you make a good point, but I just think, just in general, he's just been hot, and you got to keep the flame going, especially with this offense.
Well, how many? But the thing is, like, where's he gonna play? Because if Yoshida's DHing and you have
That's the
O'Neill,
thing.
Abreu, and Duran in the outfield, where's
They're
Ref
probably
Snyder
going to
play?
give
He could
Devers a
play. He
DH.
could
Devers
play
is going to
for.
be a DH.
Yeah, but then like, okay, so maybe Yoshida plays left field one day, right? Maybe that's why they're giving him an off day. I don't know. But like what I'm saying though, with Ref Snyder, unless he plays first base, where is he gonna play?
And I think they
You
already
know,
said that's off the table.
at least him being the everyday first baseman, that's off the table. So
They could put him at first.
I mean, they could
Yeah.
play him one game at first, but like even then, I don't know. And you still like Rafael is playing short. Okay, you still have Valdez, you still have David Hamilton. Like both of those guys are lefties, so like they could try and play those guys, and you know, I wouldn't be shocked to see like Pablo Reyes playing first base on Tuesday against
Yep.
Cleveland. Because then, if like whoever, whether it's Valdez or Hamilton at second base, probably will be Valdez. Um, if a lefty comes in, you can pitch it Ref Snyder, slide Ref Snyder to first, and put Reyes at second. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Though honestly, it's also you have to make sure Devers and O'Neill will play on Tuesday. There's also that issue as well. You got to make sure they will play.
I think.
In term,
Yeah.
in terms of the roster though, because of O'Neill would be coming off the injured list, which brings probably sends Heineman down. I would
It
assume.
would. because the Heineman was
Um,
just there to give a fresh body.
yes, and then you have Devers is going to step into the lineup, but that doesn't. He's still on the active roster. That doesn't change anything. However, there are rumors of things, maybe them bringing up someone else. We'll see. Dalton Guthrie was scratched from the Red Sox lineup today. We don't necessarily know if that's a him being moved up to the big leagues thing. He's also an outfielder, so I don't know how that necessarily fits in. But like I said, we'll see because we'll see what they choose to do.
He's
You
also not
also
necessarily the best option either, even if
no. If it was up to me, I think Nick Sogard would be the move because he can play infield, can play outfield, switch hitter as well. Um, but even then, like both guys, you have to add to the 40 man, and the obvious move would be to take Brian Mata and put him on the 60-day MLB injured list. And
that's the only obvious move right now.
yes, that's the only obvious move to clear a 40 man spot. The only other option would be like, oh, like DFA like Cam Boozer, which I don't think they're gonna do right now. Um, I don't think they need to.
The only other
Um,
move, in my opinion, is they DFA Gutierrez. That's the only.
yes, and they just picked him up, which it's not. I mean, it's possible for sure. Um, but I think we'll see. I also like Vaughn Grissom's taking a 40-man spot, but he's still not healthy. He did play 7 innings in the Worcester doubleheader yesterday, which is a very important step. Also, doubleheaders are only 7 innings, also for reference in the minor leagues. So I'll just reference that.
He's
Um,
also. I lost my
but
train
he,
of
he didn't
thought.
he didn't play today though. He didn't play today, so they're giving him 2 days in a row to rest on Sunday, Monday, and then I assume he'll be back playing Tuesday. But I don't know if he's going to play the full 9 innings on Tuesday. That's still in the field at least. That's still up for grabs. Um, Vaughn Grissom though, great guy. I'll say that at least. I did get the chance to talk to him. Was a great guy. Um, you know, makes me even more excited for him. But at the same time, Chad Tracy was who's the Red Sox manager, was just like super impressive on Grissom and his work ethic. Funnily enough, on Thursday in Worcester, Von Grissom, it was raining, so they couldn't do any work outside. So he was doing turf work, but indoors on the carpet in a little hallway they have, taking grounders from the pitching machine, pretty much from the machine or whatnot, and taking like ground balls and whatnot. Um, because he couldn't go outside, it was raining. So what? Do it in the hallway on the carpet, right? That's the kind of guy I think Red Sox fans are going to love. Obviously, he's supposed to play well, but great guy, seems like a great work ethic. So that's nice to hear, obviously, because there hasn't been a ton of stuff on Von Grissom because he has been injured. Um, so that's fun. But back to kind of the interesting stuff. Grissom does come kind of factor into this because he takes up a 40-man spot, but they can't call him up yet. He's not ready. So you start looking at the options and like, there's no other guys on the 40-man roster in AAA who are position players. There's no one else in the minor leagues, put it like this, on the 40-man roster who is a position player. I'll just put it like that.
They're out of
You,
guys right now.
they're out of guys. And you could say, well, is there anyone in the lower minors that you could take off the 40-man? Wolfman Gonzalez and Luis Perales are not coming off the 40-man. So those are non-options. Then Zach Kelly's not coming off the 40-man. Um, Brandon Walter's injured on the minor league injured list. That still takes up a 40-man spot. He's not getting DFA'd. They already DFA'd Joe Jakes. Like, it's Uwasawa. I'm not joking. Uwasawa and Vladimir Gutierrez are the only two guys, and Zach Kelly are the only three guys in the minor leagues that are on have a 40-man roster spot that they could call up. Those
Yeah.
are only three because Gonzalez and Perales are too far away, obviously. Um, and they're not going to call them up anyways. But they're on the 40-man spot because they would have been Rule 5 draft eligible had they not put them on the 40-man. That's why they're on the
And
40-man.
someone would have picked them up. So, yeah.
Exactly. And then Uwasawa, I don't think they would move on from him because he's starting in Worcester. So he just started today, went 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, only gave up a run against Durham. He had a very solid start. I know Gutierrez pitched today too, but out of the bullpen, a little bit different. Although he has started before. I think your only obvious move, like is Namada to the 60-day injured list, and then after that, it's maybe a DFA Gutierrez, even though they just traded for him, and hope he sneaks through. Um, maybe you have to DFA Boozer and send him down, and then call up like Zach Kelly to replace the 26
Mm-hmm.
man spot, and then yeah, you at least have a 40-man spot open for a position player. But
Yeah,
like,
and you know the
it's extremely rough.
yeah you know the minor leagues more better than I do. Who's the most likely to clear waivers? Is it going to be Gutierrez? Is it going to be Booster? I know Kelly won't.
I think you would. I think honestly, they'd probably take the chance on Gutierrez because he was just DFA'd.
But the thing is, the
So
Sox.
if
I think there's another team involved because the Sox traded for him.
well, yeah, but no. Well, the thing is with Gutierrez though is yeah, the Sox traded for him, but they could have just claimed him. You could make that argument. But even if there's another team involved, here's the thing: yes, you could DFA Boozer, but I think they would rather keep Boozer because he's a lefty. Like, and I know they are.
No,
I
I might
know. No,
disagree.
no, no,
I
no,
might
no,
disagree
no,
with that.
no, no, no. I'll say why. No, because even Bernardino was there. Yes, he's a
There's
lefty.
also Joelly.
Joelly, but after Joelly, it's literally Booster, and then you look at the lefties in AAA. Like Lukey, like you could use him, but like I don't know, like that he's an option. I don't think Jorge Benitez is an option right now. I don't think they're. I don't think they would call him up. Like yes, Lukey is an option, but like last year in the big leagues, he had a 7.24 ERA. And this year in Worcester in 5 games, 5 1/3 innings, he's allowed 6 runs. Which so I don't know if Lukey's not pitching the best right now. I don't know if they'd like to go to him right now because he's not pitching that well in AAA. So yeah, he's proven, but like I said, last year 7.24 ERA in the big leagues. This year in AAA, he's struggling so far. So in terms of lefties, like I said, I don't think they're calling up Jorge Benitez. And your other lefty options are Joe Jakes, who they just DFA'd, and Brandon Walter, who's injured. That's all they have, really.
It could DFA
Uh,
Walter.
no, that wouldn't happen. Now I will say Benitez has pitched well. He's pitched 9 innings in Worcester. He's only given up 1 run. That's in 5 appearances. But I don't know if they would be confident enough to call him up. He is only 24, and but the thing is, this is his first year pitching in Triple. This is the first time he's pitched in AAA. Last year, he finished the year in Seattle system in AA. Had a good year in AA. Do not get me wrong. 40 appearances, 59 innings, 2.14 ERA was very good in AA. Don't get me wrong. Last year, but because this is his first year in AAA, he's only made 5 appearances in AAA. I don't know if they necessarily want to call him up to the big leagues yet, since even with the fact he's only made 5 AAA appearances. So in terms of their lefties, unless Jake's clears, they don't really have another option that I think they'd be comfortable in right now and calling
Very
up.
true.
That's why I say with Boozer, I think they don't really want to DFA him because yes, I think sending him down to AAA is one thing. I think DFAing him is a totally different question because if you just send him down, he's still on the 40 man. You can still call him up if you need him or if someone gets hurt or whatnot. And
Right.
he still has 3 options, right? So there's no concern with sending him down. I think the thing is more so along the lines of if you were to DFA him and someone scoops him up, what do you do with who's your lefty in case let's say Joelly gets hurt? Now you're only gonna have Bernardino as a lefty. What happens if Bernardino then gets hurt? Then you don't have any lefties, right? And yes, like I said, maybe at that point you could call up Jorge Benitez. Maybe he's had more appearances in AAA. Maybe they're ready for him. But as of right now, he's only had 5 appearances in AAA. I don't know if that. I don't know if they'd be comfortable calling him up right now.
Right. It's an art. This is literally it's a weird situation. Chris Cotillo, Mass Live, just reported that he's expecting a flurry of roster moves, 40-man included, in the next couple of days, maybe even hours. Where I think we're going to see a lot of movement tomorrow.
Mata to the 60 days for sure happening. I think
Yeah. No. Oh
that's
yeah.
a lot.
Because we're about 30 days to when he was put on the injured list, and he's going to need 30. They're going to use his 30 days to rehab, so it makes sense for him to be put on the 60-day
Yeah.
because they're not going to bring him up early. I like Mata. I think he deserves a shot in the major leagues as a bullpen piece. I just don't think. I think it's just worth it right now to just put him on the 60-day. There's no harm, no foul. He's
Yeah.
gonna right.
He's gonna be out that long anyways.
It
Like
does.
that's the
It's not
thing.
going to change any of his timetable because he hasn't begun his rehab assignment. And similar to what the kind of not similar because he's not on Rule 5 terms, but kind of what the Phillies did with Noah Song. They want to use his 30 days. They want to use the most out of the 30 days to their advantage. So,
Yeah. Well, Ahmad is not a Rule 5 guy but he's kind of under Rule 5 restrictions in terms of like they can't send him down, or he has to go because he has to go through waivers if they were to send him down. And so I'm sure someone would, like the Rockies or the A's or someone would pick him up, right? So you can't send him down basically. So he's kind of almost like he's in Rule 5 situation almost because like he has no more options left. Um, and that's one of the things with some of these top pitching prospects. Like you're seeing it with Gonzalez and Perales, where they're almost stuck on a timeline. They need to get to the big leagues by a certain time because you only have three options. And for Gonzalez and Perales, like those are guys, they only have three options, right? They burn one this year, then you burn one again next year, then you burn one in 26. Well, then you got to be in the big leagues in 20 by 27. Is basically so. In terms of that, right? That's the thing that happened to Mata. They had to add him to the because he signed at 16 years old. By the time he's 20, I think it was, he had to be added to the 40 man. And then now, when you look at it, um, and now because or by 2020, whatever it was, they had to add him to the 40 man. And now he's already been sent down 3 years. He was sent down in 2021, in 2022, and 2023. Those are his three option years. Now he has no more options left because at the time Mata was a top pitching prospect for the Red Sox. He was. There was and so now they're in the spot with him where they can't send him down anymore. Thankfully, he's reached AAA, so it's not like some reach like pulling a guy up from AA. But he's been injured. He's had so many injuries where he's lost so much development time, and because of the options, he's literally like I said, he has to be in the big leagues. This is the year he has to be in the big leagues, and so I think when you look at it from the Red Sox perspective, I think they have to get him out of the shop. I think also there's no rush in bringing him up either. Chuck him on the 60-day and whenever he's ready and he's healthy and he's gone through his full 30-day rehab stint, that's when you bring him up. But there's no rush in bringing Brian Mata up. You need to make sure he's healthy. That's the big thing with him. Make sure he's healthy. So at the 60-day that's like clear as day, like easiest move. After that, that's where the question marks come. If they need to clear, if they're clearing more than one 40-man spot, that tells me there might be a lot of moves. I'm gonna say this, not confidently. I think the Casas injury changes things, but I wouldn't be shocked if Bobby Dahlbeck's name is on the chopping block. I'm not saying they're gonna DFA him. Not saying it, but I think the Casas injury changes things. But I think he's what one for his last. He's like what 1 for 28 this
one for
year
his
with
last
17.
28 with like 18 strikeouts or some stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's this year. That doesn't even include last year, the end of last year.
Yep.
So that's why I say with Dahlbeck, I'm like, I think the cost injury changes things a little bit, but don't be shocked if he's on the chopping block. If he's probably a name that they're discussing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Heineman's definitely a name they're going to
Heineman
discuss.
can't be staying.
No, I don't see it. Like I said, he's definitely a name they're going to discuss DFAing. Um, It depends how many 40-man spots they need. That's realistically. It depends on how many 40-man spots they need. How much roster shuffling are they going to do? Because I wouldn't be shocked if like a David Hamilton got sent down to AAA. He's not going to get DFA'd, but I wouldn't be shocked if he got sent down to AAA.
I think, this is tough because O'Neal's going to need to be reinstated too. We
Yes.
haven't talked really about that. O'Neal's
Well,
going to
that's
be.
what I'm saying, though. O'Neal needs to be reinstated. I think that's Heineman,
That's Heineman. I agree.
right?
There's
But
also
let's
like
say,
because Costas is going to Boston right now to be examined.
yes.
If they determine that injuries like he's going to miss significant time, boom, there's another 60-day you could do.
Maybe, but also, yeah, there's that. But also, too, I don't think they would do that right away,
They
though. I
wouldn't
don't
do that
think.
right away. No.
No. I think the other thing
But I'm
too
just
is
saying it's
are
a
they looking? Are
possibility.
they looking? But also are they looking at a Jared Walsh maybe a Brandon Belt, right? I think Belt's probably the by far better option. I think Walsh is more. We need Costa's only going to be out for a week or two. If Costa's out long term, I think yeah, you'd probably try and get Brandon Belt. I don't know how much he can play first base anymore, but like even then, like he, he's the he's Brandon Belt last year had a,
The
what, a 136 OPS plus last year. Like
the Costas
I
loss
know
is only
he struck out a lot, but like I think you can live with a 35% K rate when he at least gets hits. Bobby Dahlbeck strikes out more than that and doesn't get hits.
yeah, exactly. That's the exact point I was going to bring up.
So Dahlbeck could be on the chopping block once again. I'll bring that up again.
Yep.
You never know.
But at the same time, he's one of your best defenders. You have to look at it at that
Eh,
point because the defense is also an issue. Who's going to be your everyday third baseman? Devers again?
yeah.
You got to see where he's at too, because
No,
if
I'm
it's
aware. But at the same time,
eh,
what if they're bringing up a Nick Sogard? Nick Sogard can play third base.
sorry, the Rangers just scored. Um, yeah, I
Like
think
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like if you're calling up, if Nick Sogard's one of the guys who's coming up, yeah, he can play third base, right? If you're if they're calling up someone like that, like or I mean, they've been playing Pablo at third base. Not that it's a good idea necessarily, but like they've been playing him there. I don't love it, but like
I no,
I mean, how long can you keep a guy who can't hit on, who literally can't hit on the big league roster? That's the thing.
you also
How
got to
long can you?
see. You also got to see like what is Devers going to DH for a week? Is Devers like what's the plan with that? Is he going to be
Yeah.
on the field? Because he said all we heard is they're going to be back
Can
as a
Durant still
DH.
play second base, please?
That would help this
That'd be
team.
oh, that would help so
Oh, yeah,
much. No, because Yoshida could play a little bit of left field if needed.
yeah.
Because if Devers is DHing, Matt, if that see, why can't like you know how valuable it'd be if like I don't know we had an outfielder who could also like play elite defense in the infield and could play like second base and shortstop, but was also like a really good hitter.
Yeah,
Who also maybe wore a number that's higher,
who's
that's in the
also
double
wearing who
digits.
also used to wear Cutter Crawford. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
but
But
yeah,
no, besides that point though, but like honestly though, Rafaela moving into shortstop is massive for this team. Um, that's massive because as much as his defensive center field is great, like they just need someone who can play at least half decent shortstop. He'll give that to them. He's by far their best defensive shortstop right now. He has to play there. Now, if like they call up like a Nick Sogard, don't be shocked if they give Sogard some games at short and maybe allow Rafaela to play a little bit more center field. But even then, with Tyler O'Neill coming back and Abreu hitting well, and you have Duran, like I don't think they're going to need Rafaela in the outfield necessarily, in the sense of they could very well play O'Neill in left, Duran in center, and Abreu in right, and it's not as good as having Rafaela in center, but it's a far cry like from having David Hamilton play shortstop in terms of Rafaela having playing shortstop in terms like
right.
that's much better than David Hamilton or Pablo Reyes or whoever it might be or the Bob Stop,
It's going to be
much
interesting to
better.
see what they do.
Yes, pretty
I,
much. It's
yes,
also we're speculating basically.
this is yeah. I mean, it's already April and we're having 40-man roster spots, which is an issue that teams run in usually in early June at the earliest. But it's for the Red Sox,
We're not even in the last week of April.
right? This is not good.
It's April 21st. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days left in April. That's very telling to say the least. I mean, and the thing is, it's not like they haven't put guys on the 40 day. I mean, on this from the 40-man on the 60-day injured list. They already have 4 guys on the 60-day injured list.
Uh huh.
You already have Giolito, Hendricks, Chris Murphy, and Trevor Story there, right? And if you add Mata, then that's 5, right? But the thing is, all those guys, with the exception of Trevor Story, haven't played in the big leagues this year. Giolito got hurt in spring training. Murphy got hurt in spring training. Hendricks they knew was going to miss time this year, and Mata has got injured in spring training as well. Story's the only
Well,
one that
yeah,
was healthy to start
yeah,
the year.
yeah. But we'll see. It's an art. It's an art. But I think
No, yeah,
yeah,
I know what you mean.
yeah. So stay tuned. We're gonna break it down and see if we're right. But let's go
Yes.
on to the Guardian series. Let's preview, and then
Yes.
we'll give our players of the week. How about that?
Yes. The Guardians. Uh, they're playing in Cleveland this time. It's a three-game series. Game one is set to be Tanner Houck versus Ben Lively. Um, Game two right now is to be decided for the Red Sox versus Carlos Carrasco. However, that's where Cooper Criswell would line up in terms of that's when he was the bulk man. That's where he'd line up. So I have kind of Criswell in parentheses as the bulk guy, but we don't. They could go with an opener again. And then game three is set to be Brian Bayo versus Tristan McKenzie, which to me is a very fun pitching matchup, especially if McKenzie's at his
It's
best.
also a day game.
That too, which not ideal. But this series, Jason, what are your thoughts on this series? What do you think the Red Sox are going to do? How many games can they take from Cleveland this time?
Significantly better pitching. I think we saw at Fenway Park they lost 3 out of 4. Um, they're not the Pirates. Their offense, we kind of know what to expect. It's a 3 game set. The Sox have been playing better defensively, but my key to this series is the offense. Offense got to stay hot. I got to keep getting. They got to keep going. Despite all these injuries, they're still hitting. Right, Abreu's starting to hit. Those guys, they need to step up again. They need to keep
Yoshida.
Yoshida. Let's see, because he was heating up. Um, I think that he's the guy to watch too. A lot of guys here, a lot of guys um, are going to be have my attention for this series. So I think the Sox get some revenge. I think they take 2 out of 3. I was wrong with my Pirates prediction. So I hope to bounce back, and I think the Sox won 2 out of 3.
I mean, I was wrong. I said 2 out of 3 for the Pirates. They swept.
I
But
was worse.
I like sticking at the 2 out of 3. I I I'm a little worried about the bullpen game slash Criswell bulk game, whatever. Uh, but based on what Hauk did last time he faced the Guardians, I mean, if he's anything close to that, I think they have a very good chance at winning that game. Um, and then I like Bayo. I know it's a day game, but he hasn't had as many problems with day games this year so far. So I know Tristan McKenzie's had his struggles at times this year. Um, and I think the big key of this series is Devers and O'Neill getting back, them being back in the lineup. Because if you can slot Devers in at third, you can slide O'Neill to the outfield, and then you start looking at a lineup where, or just like a team in general, the catcher spot's been hitting well for the most part this year. So, and then like around the infield, you go Devers, Rafaela, whoever's playing second base, and whoever's playing first base. You know, you figure those two spots out. Um, and then left to right, you have O'Neill, Duran, and Abreu, and then you have Refslander on the bench to
Mm-hmm.
pinch hit. Right?
Yeah.
I think I think when you look at this, when you look at the team, you look at if Devers and O'Neill are both coming back, you have 6 of your 8 positions set. Actually, 7 of 9 because we talk Yoshida at DH, right? You have Yoshida at DH, you have Devers, Rafaela in the infield set, and you have O'Neill, Duran, and Abreu set in the outfield, and your catcher spot's set too. So 7 of 9 positions you have set. It's just second base and first base. And second base, honestly, hasn't been that much of an issue the last few games. Whether it's Reyes or Valdez or heck, I would like to see them put Hamilton there for a game, but we'll see if he's even on the roster. That's another question, especially because if Rafael is playing shortstop, I don't know if they're going to keep Hamilton on the big league roster. They might send him back to AAA.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
and but it depends on who they bring up too. Um, and then first base, that's the real question mark. But I will say this: there are exterior options that they could go after. I don't know if that'd be settled by Tuesday by the start of the series, but I'm a lot more confident with the lineup heading into Tuesday than what I was heading into today's game. So overall, I'm taking 2 out of 3 from this Cleveland series. Moving on to player and pitcher of the week. Let's start with pitcher of the week this time. I'll just throw mine out there. I'm going with Tanner Houck. I mean, we talked about it last episode, so I don't really want to talk about it too much. But he threw a Maddox, 9 innings, complete game shutout. 94 pitches, just absolutely dominant effort. So I don't want to talk about it too much because we talked about it a decent chunk last episode. But I have Tanner Houck as my pitcher of the week. Jason, who do you have as your pitcher of the week?
I'm going to stay with the theme of Red Sox and say Cutter Crawford. So, in over, he made 2 starts this past week, um, averaged about 6 innings pitched. He pitched a total of 11 and 2/3, 9 hits, 12 strikeouts, just 1 earned run, and 3 walks. So great for him. He's continuing to be very dominant. He had his first quality start, I think, of the season. I could fact check that later. Um,
I'm pretty sure on that because I think that's the first start he went 6 innings.
right. So yeah, first quality start of the season for him. So great to see that from him. And yeah, I think what you want to go player of the week now?
Yes, you can
I'll
kick that
start,
off.
I guess. Mine Braves Travis d'Arnaud. I know he's the catcher. He's only played 4 games this week, but in those 4 games, he's absolutely raked. 357 average batting average, 5 hits, 4 home runs, and 8 RBIs in 4 games, which is crazy for I guess the catcher. We know d'Arnaud, former AL East alum almost. He was with the Tampa Bay Rays, just raking, especially with the absence of Sean Murphy. A guy like him has got to step up. I think he got a little contract extension. He had 3 home runs in the game against Texas on the 19th. So that was 2 days ago, which 2 days ago was Friday, where he had 6 RBIs, 12 total bases, and his 3 hits. So great game, season best game for him, definitely. Derek, I think you're up. Who's your player
Yeah,
of the week?
I want to give an honorable mention to Ellie De La Cruz because he went 6 for 16, 2 homers, 7 walks, 5 strikeouts, stolen bases, and a 13.15 OPS. But I'm giving it to Wilyer Abreu just because I don't know if the Red Sox win the series without the Pirates series without Wilyer Abreu. He went 8 for 24. It's a little bit lopsided because he went 7 for 12 in the Pirates series. So in the Cleveland series, he went what was that? Be what 1 for 12. But even then, like he's still overall the course of the week, it's an 8 for 24 week, which he had 3 doubles, a homer, 6 walks, so just 5 strikeouts, and he also stole 3 bases this past week. So it gives him a 333, 467, 584 slash line for a 1050 OPS this past week in 7 games played. And like I said, you look at the Pirates series, it's 7 for 12 with what 2 doubles. What is it? 2 doubles, I think it is. Yeah, 2 doubles, a homer, and what 3 walks is it? I think, just for the Pirates series. So I think I have to give it to Wilyer Abreu in that sense, just because, like I said, I don't think the Red Sox win 3 games against the Pirates if it's not for him. Um, you could very well make the argument that they don't win 2 games if it's not for Wilyer Abreu. You could try and make that argument because game 2 was close and he was on base 4 times actually, um, and then in game 3, I think it was the only hitter for the Red Sox to have a multi-hit game, and he had 3 hits. So I think he's a key piece for the Red Sox, especially in this series where Casas only basically played 1 game. They were basically no star hitters basically for the Red Sox for 2 games. Although Yoshida played like a star in game 2, but I'm giving it to Wilyer Abreu. That's besides the point. So yeah, I think that's actually a good kind of wrapping up point for us. So obviously, make sure to stay tuned for our series recap of the Cleveland series for our midweek show. And for Jason, actually, stay tuned for all the Red Sox moves because there might be other moves coming out after this gets released or before this gets released, but Sunday night, who knows? So for Jason, my name is Derek. Thanks for tuning into the Fenway Focus, and we will see you next time.